Hi everyone, and welcome back to this edition of Freedomnomnom or Freedomnomnom. Clearly you can see it is time for a haircut. So I thought I would dazzle you with a very clashy outfit to maybe distract you from the hair. But welcome back. I am thrilled to have you. Remember, if you support this, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel or my Odyssey channel. Odyssey is the censor-proof platform that is an alternative to places like the state-controlled big tech duopoly of a place like YouTube. So anyway, today in my Freedomnomnom kitchen, I am going to be making stuffed peppers. So stuffed peppers is a regular thing that is in my house. I probably make it once every 2 or 3 weeks. It's really easy. It's something you can do. The prep's about 20 minutes and then you throw it in the oven for up to an hour-ish. And you can go and do other stuff, do some gardening, all that good stuff. So today's stuffed pepper. So stuffed pepper recipes actually are from all over the world, right? So it's one of those things. What do we have to do in Carla's kitchen? We always have to preheat the oven. So let me do that quick. I do 375 because I do 375 for everything because then it makes it a little easier for you to cook at home. Honestly, sometimes I do this up to 400 and make it kind of hot. I like it when it's like that. But stuffed peppers. Something you find all over the world. You know, the Guatemalan recipes, Italian, Spanish, from Africa, various different flavors. And today ours is going to be whatever I have in the house, which is Bardo pork, of course. So Bardo Farm, that is a local New Hampshire farm up here in the upper valley of New Hampshire. We'll be using some of their delicious pork. And I'm going to be using yellow peppers, which I will explain why that's important in a second. I think I'm going to do fennel, and I think I'm going to do like a cumin-y, sort of wintry flavor. We'll throw some jalapeno in there. So a little spicy, a little yummy, a little everything. So some shallot as well. So, I mean, as we do over here in my Freedomnomnom kitchen, I'm just gonna make it up as I go along. So come along for the ride. First thing we're gonna do is I am gonna take some bacon fat. I keep my bacon fat whenever I make bacon. I keep it in the fridge. I have one that I use, that's a small one like this, and then I have one that, you know, because you don't always want to be pouring the fresh bacon fat on the old bacon fat, so you do want to regulate that a little bit so that you're making sure you're not just taking the fresh stuff and it gets kind of icky at the bottom. So you want to look at that a little bit. So I always have 2 jars going at the same time. I'm going to throw some bacon fat in here, and then we are going to let that melt. The stove is on 3. I'm going to cut up a shallot. And of course, Miss Nellie is here to say hi to everyone because she knows something's happening in the kitchen. So she's got to come do her inspection. And all right, so what do you need to know about peppers? So, you know when you go to the store and there are green peppers, yellow peppers, which are the ones we're using, orange peppers, and red peppers. These are all the same peppers. They're not from different plants. They're not, you know, contrary to belief from, you know, a different plant or anything like that. They are literally just in different stages of ripeness. So they have the green ones are the least ripe. And if you're someone who struggles maybe with IBS or you have digestive issues and stuff, you do want to look at peppers and kind of figure out if they're for you or not. I figured out that green ones, they're not for Miss Carla. But the yellow and orange and I think the red ones are not great for me either, so I guess I'm in that middle phase of the development. So peppers are nightshades. And nightshades are things like eggplant and potatoes and peppers, and I'm forgetting something. Peppers, yeah, tomatoes. Tomatoes is the other one, right? So I've sort of figured out through trial and error by trying to figure out what the hell's up with my digestive situation, which I think is a challenge that a lot of people who are trying to reclaim their health are going through. And it's kind of weird because it means you got to talk about poop more than you might want to, but it is how you figure out what is happening with your own biome. And then depending on what's happening with your biome, if you get that flora healthy again, you know, life starts to get better. So I have about a teaspoon here of garlic. That's going in for a sizzle. We're gonna add, I'm sorry, that was a tablespoon, not a teaspoon. I'm gonna add this shallot there, and we're just gonna let that brown a little bit. I think I just accidentally threw a little thingy in there. That's just a brown outer piece of the shallot. Okay, and then I'm gonna chop up this jalapeno. So I seed my jalapenos pretty much for the same reason. I mean, it is green. I probably really shouldn't eat them, but who can resist a little spice in your life? So I'm just, you know, I pick and choose what I'm willing to suffer for. So, all right, so I unseeded these jalapenos. I'm gonna add those in there to the shallots and the garlic. I'm just chopping this in a fairly fine chop. Ooh, I need to sharpen my knives. That's not optimal. But you know how it goes here on Freedomnomnom. We just make it up as we go along. So, no harm, no foul. What I'm hoping to, you know, is establish in people who watch this and people just in general is cooking's not hard. We should do it. It doesn't really matter if you fuck up. You just try better next time. And if you take that approach, you will discover that life isn't half as hard as you thought it was, and that that you can learn and grow and get better at whatever you're up to. So, you know, I think we're really hard on ourselves, and we shouldn't be, and, you know, nothing's as big a deal as we make it out in our own heads, right? All right, so if you've been watching the show a while, you know I like to save the blood for Nellie, which is why she's right over here. Okay, I'm doing the pork in the pan. I'm actually going to put that on the side. Give her a little pork there in the packet. There's really no blood, so she's just going to get a little bite. She's going to get a little bite. All right, you go. I'll wash my hands. Okay, so put the little piece of jalapeno in there. This is going to start to brown. I'm just going to let that sort of start to do its thing there. What do we always do? You got to season your food. Seasoning is key. You know how you watch those cooking shows and they're like, well, that guy didn't season his food and he's out of here. So this is just salt and pepper, and everyone who watches the show knows a little garlic powder on top. Well, that's just brownie. Okay. Now, I'm going to think a little bit about what other flavors. This is my warm flavor drawer, and that the one over here is my green drawer. I really do need to get some new spices, but I think I'm going to do, I actually like to just kind of take a whole bunch of different ones and feel it out a little, maybe some paprika, got some. All right, I'll tell you guys what I have in a hot set. First First I'm going to find my cumin, which I have a really big one of because I use it a lot. Except now it's not. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Alright, I have a mid-sized cumin. Alright, so while this is kind of browning a little, people will be horrified. I know my friend Gail's going to be like, what? You didn't toast your spices? I'm like, sure, I know there's fancy ways to do all of this, but like I'm a real person in a real kitchen and I'm real busy, so I'm like, what can we do in 30 minutes and less? And what I can generally do is this kind of stuff. So, alright. So this is kind of interesting. Do you see how these have different assholes? So this one has 4. I think this is on here, 4. And this one has 3. So this, and I'm going to do it here too. So 4 and 3, do you see those little lobes, right? So word on the street is that the males have 3. Let's see if I have this straight. So the males have 3, yes I do, and the females have 4. And I heard this years ago and I was kind of like, oh, I never knew that. So the point was that the one with the 4 had, which we're calling the female, has more seeds, and that's why they're saying it's the female, and that's literally because there are more lobes, right? But this one only has 3, and so they say that the 3, the male is better to be cooked, and the female is better to eat raw. So, I've taste tested that, and I'm not sure I believe it. And also, according to the internet, they say that that actually is now a myth. But I'm going to come up with my own conspiracy theory, which is that they're calling it a myth because they are going to say that these peppers are non-binary and on a spectrum, and they're probably right because, of course, vegetables do not cross-pollinate by male-female. They do it with birds and bees. And so apparently all of that is nonsense. I'm just telling you what I learned. Maybe at home you guys with your kids can do your own taste tests and see what you think. I'm going to just rinse these off. Alright, so these are rinsed, and then I'm going to put some of these spices on this porky pork. So this is just browning up here. So let's see, I just make stuff up as I go along. So I'm going to say that we're going to do cumin. I know we're going to have a lot of cumin, so I'm just going to start with that. Let's pretend like we know what we're doing. We're going to say it's a teaspoon of cumin. At least. I'm going to do 2. So I like my stuff spiced, flavorful. So I'm going to do 2 of that. Over here I've got some chipotle chili. I'm just going to do a little bit of that on there. We got some, maybe we'll skip that one. So a little bit of smoked paprika. Okay. We got some cayenne. I'm going to do this dark chili instead. So this is a dark chili. That smells good. That went into my award-winning chili. So I'm going to give this a whirl. I should cut the fennel first, but whatever. Alright, I'm going to let that brown a little. I'm going to make a little hole here in the middle. I do want a little bit of that fennel taste, so I'm just going to take, honestly, when I cook, I'll look what's in the fridge and I look at what order I should be making it so that I don't waste not, want not, as I say on every show. So I was like, oh, I've had this fennel for a week or so. And I love that taste. So fennel is like very licoricey. And I love it in like salads and food and whatever. And honestly, I use these fronds and everything. I'll just break them off and put them in salads for like a little, what's that taste in a salad. I'm just going to cut off like an inch wide of the fennel itself. I'm going to throw away maybe the outside one. And I'm just going to chop this. I'm going to chop it pretty fine, actually. One might even call this a die. Okay. I told you my knife skills. But again, doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to chop this a little more. That's nice and fragrant. It's got that nice, like, fresh fennel, licoricey kind of taste to it. Anise, I guess, is the technical term. All right, so we got that. I'm going to toss this in the middle here, right in there. Now, if I'd had my druthers, I would have actually done that with the shallots and the stuff, and the jalapeno and the garlic at the start, but I didn't, so I'm going to save the rest of this to use in some salads this week. That smells really, really good, so that's nice. All right, so now I got to get some tin foil, and I just do my peppers like standing up in a bread tin. You know, now that I don't eat any more bread, I'm like, oh, what can I repurpose this with? So that's what I did. So let me just grab tin foil. I was thinking I might call my production company Tinfoil Hat Productions, because I think that's hilarious. Mostly because people make fun of me all the time because I'm an insanely curious person, and so I generally don't believe anything. I love to read, so I'll just go look for stories and stuff and try and come to conclusions about what's up in life. And so, as they say, trust no one, and I don't, and that's worked out pretty well for me so far, and often right. All right, so, because I did this all in the wrong kind of order, but we're just going to mix this all, and then we're going to, I let that sit a little. I might put a little, doing that for a bit. Taste test time. Okay, definitely needs more. So I'm going to put in some chili powder. I'm going to do more cumin. I like my peppers to be a little cumin forward, so I guess we're going for a smattering plus so that would probably be 3 teaspoons at this stage of cumin. Oh, that smells good now. Okay. So what region or cuisine this one would be from is, let's call it a globalist stuffed pepper. So that would certainly make someone on my feed laugh, because so this is the New World Order peppers. How about that? Okay, I'm gonna let that, I'm turning this down to low just while I prep these pepper part quick. So what you wanna do, I try and slice it as close as I can to this part, right? So you're saving as much as you can of the pepper top itself. I have this little, whatever you call that fancy beak eye knife, maybe. Beak eye knife. So you want to take the insides out as you see here. So we are currently dealing with the male one. All right, so we'll do a little test experiment while we go about our stuff here. All right, so I'm just digging out the insides. So this is this one, and that you want to, if you're like me, you want to make sure you keep your pieces together, right? I say I don't do puzzles, but I do peppers, and that can be a bit like building a puzzle. So also with this one, cut it as close as you can to the top, so that you have as much of the inside. So so maybe the internet's right. So this was the quasi-female, that's a lot of seeds, but it almost looks like the one that had 3 had more seeds. So we're gonna say we believe the Mythbusters and that it's all nonsense and it doesn't matter. And apparently these little lobes, some come with 5 or 6. I've never seen that because I've actually been watching the 3-2 thing, because here's my theory. The 4s sit really well on the pan, so they're always better than the 3s. You see the 3s are kind of wobbly, so I generally, when I pick my stuff, I do look for ones with nice fat bottoms to make it easier to put them in the oven and let them stand up and all of that. So let's do another. Doesn't taste that interesting to me, to be honest. I'm gonna throw in my trusty I can't say it sauce. Just maybe a little bit of that. I don't know, maybe it needs more. Sometimes though I go, oh, I can't taste it, and then it actually comes out as it bakes in the flavor. So when in doubt, add a little paprika and add a little more dark chili. And then I want to try one of these fennel pieces. That tastes good. That actually has the flavor of the spices is kind of gone in there, so that's pretty tasty. Okay, I'm gonna do a little more salt. Never hurts. And then I'm gonna stir this puppy up. And some people make stuffed peppers with rice in it. You can do it with meat and vegetables, arugula, cheese, all of that. Because I'm paleo and keto, I like to just do it with meat, and then let those bake off. So give this one last taste here. See what else we can do, or if it needs anything more. Yeah, that's tasty. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my finest work, but the convenience of just making a stuffed pepper on a weeknight where you're just like, okay, this is wholesome, good food for my family, and it didn't take that long to make. Everything's from scratch. My Freedomnomnom slogan, I think, is going to make it real food made with liberty and love. So as you see here, this is putting the puzzle together. So you want to fit those 2 pieces together, which I have done. And then I put them in the tin foil, and I put it in the fry pan, and then we do the other one. And I like to serve these with sour cream. And I'll probably take a little bit of those dill fronds, or the fennel fronds, you know, finish it with that. And, you know, again, this one's just also stuffed to the brim. And then you fit the lid on there with your puzzle piece, which would go like that. And then wrap them up. All right. And voila. Voila. In my bread pan, so the bigger one, you know, the wobbly one and the stable one. And I'm gonna pop these stoves off. And you gotta eat it clean. And I'm gonna pop these in the 375 oven for an hour. So I can go do some quick gardening while that's happening. It's gonna go on the middle shelf. And I set the timer for 1 hour start. And that is one version of my not world famous stuffed peppers, but you know, again, it's a really nutritious, healthy dish that's fast to make. You know, what, that was what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. In the oven, you go do other stuff, you come back and you have a great meal for your entire family. You can make it with any kind of flavor profile, tomato-y, like whatever you want. So really, it is one of those staples that you can make in your kitchen. No excuses. I would love to hear how your stuffed pepper recipes came out. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, or better yet, subscribe to my Odyssey channel. I am Carla Gericke, Gericke, and this was episode 4, I think, of Freedomnomnom. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys. Peace out.